Appreciate everybody being here today. We'll start off with just a couple notes up in the department here. I want to congratulate Dick Paith on his retirement. Since last time we've talked, that's happened, and Coach Paith was a big help to me a couple different times up here in my first year and his last, and so wish him well in retirement. He had a chance to, one of the things we connected on is he played college baseball, and so he got to play for Dwayne Banks and Lute Olson, two Hall of Fame coaches. And then since we've chatted last, our athletic trainer, Danny Dries, won an award for outstanding employment here at Wartburg, and so I want to congratulate him publicly on that. We have a number of holes to fill from last year. We lose 3 all-conference players. Keaton Gray batted leadoff the last couple of years and was first-team all-conference last year. Cale Beamer was an All-American last year after being a really productive pitcher in our program for many years. And Max Hansen, one of our relievers last year, was all-conference as well. So we'll have a tough time filling those holes, as well as the other seniors that graduated. This year our theme is with our leadership council and with our entire team is about going from good to great. We've dabbled in that book a little bit. We finished 6th place a number of years in a row. I'm not sure we've been out of 6th place or worse since maybe even they changed the name of the conference. And so we know that's not the goal. We know that's not the standard for our program, for really any program at Wartburg. So we're trying to break through some ceilings and see if we can't get a better seed in the conference tournament as we move forward here. So we retained all but one player after fall practice. So we have great team chemistry right now on the team. I think that's one of our strengths is just the character of these guys, how they've stuck together through coaching transition. And we have 22 seniors right now. That includes 4th, 5th, and 6th. And so I'll try and name them all at different points when I talk about the different positions, but I want to cherry pick a couple to start off with here. Devin Yeager's a senior from Eddyville-Blakesburg High School. And he's been injured a lot through his career, so we haven't talked about him a ton. So I want to start off with him. Outstanding young man in our program, and really a selfless. Our second core value is being selfless, and he just embodies that as well as anybody. Comes to practice every day, and unfortunately has a lot of injuries, but always brings a positive attitude, and we just really appreciate him for that. And then Tanner Jagum is a senior from Waukee. Again, battled injuries throughout his time, went through a really nasty arm injury that didn't allow him to throw. He's a catcher. And but when I was talking to one of our freshman catchers the other day, and I said, man, you've really worked on receiving the low pitch. And he said, Tanner's been the one that's helped me with that. And so it's really cool. A couple of older guys that have really given back to the program, even though they couldn't play as much as they would have liked to in their time here. We talk a lot about in our program creating value for yourself. And obviously the obvious is on the field, but the not so obvious is how can you create value for yourself and value for this team if you don't play? What kind of teammate are you? What kind of energy can you bring every day? How can you help younger players? And then really those two guys, I want to start with them because they really embodied that. They've created a lot of value for themselves over the last year and a half here. Many of our seniors have been accepted into grad programs or lined up with jobs that's going to make more money than probably all of our coaches combined. So we're really happy about that and the next step of their lives. But first, we have a fun season to play here. So we'll start on the mound, coached by new coach Kyle Dupick and returning coach Matt Maluski. We have a returning award winner, Joey Sierra, was honorable mention all conference last year. He enters his 6th year. He's done a great job as a grad assistant across campus in student life. And so he'll be walking out of here with two degrees from Wartburg in a year and a half. And so really proud of Joey and just what he does to lead the pitching staff. He's obviously a productive pitcher, but it's more so what he does, with his leadership that helps us out. We have a couple guys returning that have pitched in weekend starting roles, Nick Nin and Cale Funk. Others in the mix for starting jobs this year, Will Baldus, Logan Sullivan, a couple of returning sophomores that have done a good job. And a newcomer in the mix is Emerson Albrowski, freshman from Ankeny Centennial, has done a great job in his first semester in our program. In the bullpen, we have a number of returners that pitched a lot of innings last year. Will Armstrong, Kyle Thompson, Hunter Sayer, Connor Funk, and Eli Slaymaker pitched a lot last year. Others in the mix this year, I just want to mention a couple seniors that have done a good job. Stephen Behrens, Jason Splitt, Gavin Lund, Caleb Graw have done everything the right way, entering into their last year. Then a couple newcomers I'll mention in the bullpen. Alex Behrens is a junior that came to us from DMAC. He's really banged up right now, so hopefully he can get back and help us out. But he pitched in the Junior College World Series last year. And Carson Kniebel comes to us from Pleasant Valley via USC Upstate, transfer here at semester, part of the new rules about roster caps and all that stuff. And so we were the beneficiary of that, him coming in at semester. As you can tell, we have a lot of guys in the mix, but who steps up and wins the jobs, in the bullpen will really be a huge factor for this team, quite frankly. We'll move on to the position side, and 20 years of being a head coach, I'm not sure I can remember a time where there's been so many position battles here. We certainly have more competitive depth than what we've had the last couple of years, but also, it wouldn't bother me if we had a Zach Walton or Elliot Jurgensen at every position too. It'd be tough to beat out those returning all-conference guys, Zach and Elliot, but a lot of positions are up for grabs too. We'll start with the catcher position, coached by Hunter Destival. Coach Destival played for me years ago and has done a nice job with the catcher. It's probably our most veteran position group. Start off with a couple guys that have started games in the past. Carter Stubitz and Cole Wesley, both returned for their 5th years, kind of familiar names. Others in the mix, Lance Geschel in his 2nd year in our program from junior college, started some games last year at DH and caught a little bit. Then we have newcomers in the mix at that position. Garrett Turner, a freshman from Solon, had a really good high school season last year and came in and performed really well in the fall. Infield's coached by Tyler Willis, who also played for me years ago. He's also an alum of Wartburg. Returning award winner Zach Walton was first-team all-conference last year. He's been all-conference for a few years, holds a number of school records, and probably will pass a couple more throughout the course of this season too. Returning starter Caleb Andrews at second base. Others in the mix for some playing time. Wiley Sullivan's played a little bit in the past. Andrew Robinson's played a little bit in the past, and with Keaton Gray gone, he's one of the guys in the mix at third base. Then we have 3 seniors that I want to mention that have done everything right too. Jack Bunkers, Nathan Splitt, Wyatt Miller. And then we have a couple newcomers in the mix there, Liam Bender from Iowa City Liberty and Griffin Traha from Mundelein, Illinois. Move on to the outfield, coached by Jared Perkle. We've been together for a long time. I think we first started coaching together in 2013, I think, at the high school, and we've been together a long time. He's also an alum of Wartburg. Returning all-conference center fielder there, Elliot Jurgensen. Makes you sleep a little bit better at night when you have a returning all-conference center fielder that can go get it in both gaps and really produce offensively. Other guys that have started, Noah Day, Aiden Tobin. A couple guys in the mix here, Cole Greider from Ankeny Centennial started a little bit last year. Then we got some newcomers. Keegan Schmidt will play a little bit out there. He's from Independence. He was a really, really good high school player. And we got him via the transfer portal from Mount Mercy. A couple of freshmen, Charlie Kruger from West Des Moines Valley High School, and Jaden Scott from San Diego, California. So he's probably going to wear long sleeves in our first few games here. The DH, in addition to all the guys I mentioned, Garrett Kadolf and Aiden Brown both started games DH last year. We're just hoping for more productivity from that position. I think the guys that did it last year are better at it this year. And also we probably have a few more guys in the mix too. Talk about the ARC conference here a little bit. It has a chance to be a 2-bid league. It was a couple of years ago. Again, Co won the league last year. They returned just about everybody, plus I think a D1 transfer, so they'll be very good. Probably a top 20-ish team in America this year. Buena Vista's won the 2 of the last 3 conferences and pretty much have that same group back that they've had. Loras College went to a regional a couple years ago, so went through and kind of looked at everybody, and one of the first things you do is, are they going to be better than last year or not as good as last year? And I can't think of anybody that's not going to be as good as they were a year ago. Looking through, everybody just seems to be better, right on down the line. So as much as I think we're going to be better, I do think we'll get challenged in that everybody's bringing back a really strong roster with COVID seniors. Non-conference schedule lines up like this. Our first series here in a couple weeks, February 22nd, we play UW-Platteville, who beat us up last year. Then we got Illinois College, who made a regional a couple years ago. They'll be the host school in the round robin. Florida's very tough. They pretty much bracket you based on where you finished last year. And so we won 9 more games than we did a year ago. So we bumped up in terms of how tough that's going to be, but that's exactly how we want it. I think we only played one game down there out of 7 against a team with a losing record. I think they were just maybe a game under 500. So it's going to be very tough, including a couple 30-win teams down there, which will prepare us for conference play, which we're excited about. Home opener is March 15th against St. Olaf. They won the regular season MIAC last year, so a really good opponent coming into Harm Stadium at Hurdle Field. And then we're going to have 2 senior days this year. I want to mention those. We're doing our 4th-year seniors on April 12th and our 5th-year seniors on April 19th. Felt like it was really important to do 2 senior days this year, just not only with the number we have, but also seems like those 4th years have kind of waited their turn to be the oldest guys, and it may never come. And so felt like they kind of deserved their own day. With that, I'll throw it out for questions here.
Coach, you mentioned a big group of incoming freshmen and transfers. How beneficial have those been for you this season and last season?
Yeah, I'll start off. We're really excited about our newcomers, but I'll start off by just mentioning how much they've been welcomed in by the older guys. You know, I know at times that I've coached teams where there's new players that come in, or at semester, or freshmen that come in the fall that come with a little hype, and they can be kind of a threat to older guys. And boy, I haven't seen that one time this year. The older guys have just embraced the younger guys, met with every single player after fall practice, and made sure I asked that question to the freshmen: how have you been welcomed in? And heard nothing but positive things. And so I'm really happy about that. Also, that hopefully that makes the freshmen feel more comfortable to be able to contribute, because we're going to need a couple of them at some point. We've got a couple pitchers I mentioned in the mix. We've got a couple outfielders in the mix, and so hopefully that allows them to contribute. But it's been a nice mix this year of older players that have been around, but also some new players that have come in and given us some good energy and a different flavor, which has been really welcome too.
How would you assess the team's preseason in preparation for a competitive spring? Yeah,
so last year at this time, we were really disappointed with our fall practices. And this year they were significantly better. And these 4 weeks that we have before we go out and play were really good last year. They've been really good so far again this year. But just year 2 starting in the fall just seems to be everybody's a little bit more on the same page. The expectations are a little more clear. Nothing, fewer things are new. And so the guys have been able to hit the ground running a little bit. Again, that started with the leadership that they've showed the younger guys. And so it just seems to me like we're not spinning our tires as much, that we got a little traction and maybe able to move the thing forward a little bit as we go through spring.
Similar question to softball. I believe this might be, again, one of the earliest starts you've had to your season. How has that impacted the preseason planning?
Yeah, it's probably given a little more sense of urgency throughout these cold days in the field house at 10 p.m. It's probably given a little more sense of urgency, but we've been able to get outside a couple times. I think our second practice of January was outside, which is pretty unique. And so I think the guys have done a really nice job preparing. And sometimes it's hard to be outside early, and then last week we were back inside. Sometimes that can be a tough transition. The guys have handled it really well. In fact, we were able to go scrimmage a couple times, and then it was like, hey, let's go back to work inside, figure out what we need to work on, and then head into week 3 and 4 of practice. And so the guys have just handled that really well, and we know it'll be a challenge in Jacksonville. We're crossing our fingers for good weather. We play a couple really good teams in Jacksonville, and so we know that'll be tough. But it's also with spring break being a little bit later this year, we thought it was important to play a little bit before we head down to Florida and play 7 games in 8 days.
Coach, one of your 5th-year seniors returning, Will Armstrong, had different roles last season with his health. What is that looking like going into this year?
Yeah, first of all, he's doing really well right now, health-wise. We had a couple of setbacks in the fall, but he's handled everything so well. And honestly, Will comes every day with a positive attitude. Even though he's been through a lot, he comes with a smile on his face every day and just brings great energy to the team, and it's just fun to be around him. And so, first of all, health-wise, he's doing great. And second of all, he's also probably playing better than he ever has in his time at Wartburg. And, that's what we expect from our older players, that, it's not professional baseball where you sometimes don't improve after a certain point. We expect our older players to get better, and Will's just done that really well. And so this is, I think, the best he's thrown on the mound from what we've seen indoors, and probably the best offensively he's looked to. He's been a really good defender and shortstop for a long time, but those other two areas he's really improved on, went to work at. Really proud of his efforts, especially based on what he's been through here.
What are some areas of optimism for the season?
I think probably the number of veteran players we have. I think it's a lot. When I look at rosters from around the conference, and it seems like everybody has about the same as we do anymore. But I think that's a good place to start. Is that we have some guys that have been around. You know, I was looking the other day, and I think we have some guys that have over 300 career at-bats. That's a good place to start. We also have some younger players who, you know, when you think about playing a younger player, I think the first thing you wonder is if they can physically handle it. There's a difference between an 18 and a 23-year-old. Can they physically handle it? Can they mentally handle it? Because they're going to go through some ups and downs. We know that some of our younger players are going to be hot at times, and they're probably going to go through some slumps. That's part of being a younger player. And then how much have they been, you know, a good teammate? Because sometimes as a freshman you can look internal a lot and just focus on your own performance and where you're at on the depth chart. Seniors tend to be a little bit more about the team, but these guys have come in and done all three of those things well. These young guys, they're about the team first. They can handle it mentally, going through the ups and downs of college baseball, and obviously some of them are physically ready too. So it's been a good mix.
Good luck this season.
Thank you.